They say the bluegrass has its secrets, not just in the caves or the hollers, but in the skies themselves. In the winter of 1978, whole counties whispered of strange lights, silent, shifting, impossible to chase down. A trooper swore it wasn't any plane he'd ever flown. Firefighters gave chase to a fire that lifted off the ground. A preacher said a craft the size of a building hovered over his car. And a teenager clutched a Polaroid snapshot of something luminous, drifting away into the dark. It wasn't just one sighting, it was a wave. And for a few cold weeks, the Bluegrass Triangle seemed to stare right back at Kentucky. Welcome to Mystery Trails, where the backroads of history and the unexplained cross paths. If you love chilling stories and mysteries, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next trail. Tonight, we're heading into the heart of central Kentucky, tracing a path of lights, chases, and unanswered questions that locals still call the 1978 Bluegrass Triangle UFO Blitz. In the winter of 1978, central Kentucky became the stage for one of the strangest flurries of unexplained sightings in the state's history. Locals would later call it the Bluegrass Triangle, a cluster of encounters stretching across Madison, Estill, and neighboring counties, where strange lights and hovering craft seemed to haunt the skies for several cold weeks. The story began in earnest on the night of February 19th, 1978. Kentucky State Trooper Jim Whitaker was on patrol near Irvin in Estill County when he noticed an unusual light pooling over a field. It wasn't the steady glow of headlights or a barn lamp. Instead, the object appeared rectangular, shifting colors in slow pulses, red, white, blue, then green, each hue beating like a steady heart. Whitaker stopped his cruiser and watched. With over 1,500 hours of flight time as a Navy helicopter pilot, he knew the difference between an aircraft and something unfamiliar. Later, he would insist he was 100% certain it was no plane or helicopter. As he edged his patrol car closer, the object seemed to sense his presence and drifted away. Whitaker followed. The pursuit lasted more than 2 hours, winding through back roads along the Madison-Estill County line. Whenever conventional aircraft passed overhead, the object's lights dimmed as if trying to hide. When the skies cleared, it returned to its vivid, color-shifting glow. Eventually, it vanished into the night, leaving only the trooper's testimony. Whitaker's chase was not an isolated case. Around the same time, 2 Madison County firefighters were dispatched to what they believed was a grass fire in a pasture. They expected to find flames licking at the field's edge. Instead, the fire lifted off the ground and revealed itself as a glowing red craft. Described later as a classic saucer shape, it moved smoothly over Richmond. The firefighters pursued it for more than an hour, their training telling them that flames did not fly, and yet this one did. Other encounters added to the growing wave. Reverend Elmer Hardy and his wife were driving to Sunday night church when their path was blocked by an enormous craft, described as 10 stories tall and 20 wide, glowing with lights. It hovered silently over the road and then over their car before drifting upward and vanishing. For the Hardys, it was an image they would never forget. A building-sized object commanding a country road. Then came a more tangible relic. 16-year-old Terry Kirby of Irvin spotted a glowing oval hovering low as he chopped wood outside his home. He ran inside, grabbed his Polaroid camera, and managed a single snapshot before the object slipped away. Though blurry and ambiguous, the photograph was printed in the Cincinnati Enquirer, lending the story a sense of physical presence amid the swirl of eyewitness accounts. Beyond Madison and Estill counties, the sightings spread. In Bloomfield, Nelson County, residents told television crews of luminous balls of light that arranged themselves into patterns, at times bright enough to turn night into day. Depending on the account, between 2 and 5 dozen locals claim to have seen these displays. Taken together, the sightings formed a rough geographic triangle anchored by Lexington, Richmond, and Irvine, a region quickly labeled the Bluegrass Triangle. In the background of all these events loomed the Bluegrass Army Depot near Richmond. Locals knew it as a sprawling munitions facility that stored sensitive materials, including chemical agents that would not be destroyed until decades later. The depot's presence inevitably led to speculation. Were these lights connected to classified tests or secret aircraft? No public evidence ever surfaced to prove such a connection, but its proximity to the sightings was difficult to ignore. By 1978, the U.S. Air Force's official UFO investigation program, Project Blue Book, had already been closed for nearly a decade. That meant there would be no military investigators arriving to interview witnesses, no official explanations filed in government archives. What remained were the accounts themselves, consistent, overlapping, and persistent. Theories abounded. Some suggested aircraft or helicopters, their lights distorted by atmospheric conditions. Others pointed to Venus, stars, or meteors misread against cold winter skies. Skeptics believed the wave might have been fueled by social contagion, one headline encouraging more people to look upward and report what they thought they saw. Still, trained observers like a trooper, firefighters, and a preacher gave the stories weight that simple misidentifications couldn't fully explain. So here's the question for you. If you had been Trooper Whitaker, chasing a silent rectangle for more than 2 hours across Kentucky backroads, or if you had been Terry Kirby, Polaroid in hand, staring up at a glowing oval, what would you believe you were seeing? A secret military craft, lights fooling the eyes, or something not of this world? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to see what your gut says before we wrap this trail. The Bluegrass Triangle of 1978 left no wreckage, no radar logs, no hard evidence, just stories, a trooper's long chase, firefighters pursuing a flying fire, a preacher's vision of a building-sized craft, and a boy's Polaroid printed in the paper. For a few weeks in that cold Kentucky winter, the skies felt alive with something beyond explanation. So what do you think? Were these misidentified aircraft secret tests from the Army Depot or genuine encounters with the unknown? If you enjoyed this dive into Kentucky's strangest mysteries, hit subscribe. Share this story with your UFO curious friends and let us know your own theories in the comments. This is Mystery Trails. Next time, we'll follow another trail into the unexplained.